All right, guys, is it live right now? Tell me right now. Because I literally was just live for the last 30 minutes answering questions, and I'm pretty sure it just wasn't going through, which is kind of annoying to me. We'll just run it back. We'll run it back. Why not? The last half hour, I'll do an hour live stream, but to you guys, it'll only be a half an hour stream. Literally, it was connected, but I don't know. It just wasn't playing. So we'll see here. That is crazy because the chat was going well, I guess, because I was answering people's chats there, and you guys were answering them as well. So I apologize for that. I was live at 4 there. It should have went through. I apologize for that. So I'll kind of do rapid fire here. If my voice starts to go, it's because, I just went hard for the last 30 minutes on the live stream that apparently wasn't connected, although that was weird. That was strange. I don't know what happened there, but we're ready to go. So I apologize for that. I'm just going to rapid fire the questions from before. So is this course a little bit too long for John Huss? So no to me, because we already are factoring in kind of that with him. So the thing with John Huss is that he does rank well at strokes gained tee to green. He is 21st in strokes gained tee to green. And then just looking at that 200 to 175 yardage range, top 20 in that as well. So if we are worried about that length off the tee, we see that 200 to 175 yardage range becomes a factor, and he's good at it. So all in all, it shouldn't affect him too much. I get the worry there. It's kind of one of those years where we kind of have to try to find a reason to fade someone when they're checking all the boxes. So I get why we're trying to find a reason to fade him. So I get that. John Hutt makes sense why we would try to find a reason to fade him, because it's like, what is going on with this number? Like, we have no reason to fade him. And I get why we're trying to find some reason to fade him. And, if that is a reason you guys are thinking of fading him, sure, I get it. Not for me, though. I was not taking a dump, guys. I swear. I was live. I was looking at the screen. I was looking at the camera. I was answering you guys' questions. I'm just going to double take them. So I apologize for that. I'm just going through them. So Taylor was asking, what player am I overweight on for this week? So for me, I'm really going to be overweight on all the players that I mentioned kind of already, especially the core plays. So for me, I'm always overweight on those guys. So I already mentioned those guys. A little bit of John Rahm, but Hideki, Palmer, Grillo, John Ha, and then Justin Suh. I'm going to be overweight on those guys. That's just kind of how it goes. And typically speaking, for me personally, I like to really trim down my player pool in general. So really anyone that I'm on in my player pool, I'm typically at least at their ownership level or above it. So I'm pretty much overweight on anyone in my player pool, typically speaking, which actually does bring up one of the common questions for the week. It's like, what were my thoughts on Gary Woodland? Because he is seeming like he's chalk, and I'm kind of worried about Gary Woodland this week. Like, if he was a GPP play, a low-owned GPP play where the risk was worth it, that would make sense. But if he's getting talked up as much as it seems like, just kind of based on what I've been seeing, so he's going to be chalk, which does worry me, because we're getting a guy that's only had one good start really in the past, 5 months. And this is coming from someone who had him as a guy that could win the US Open. I was on him that week. We haven't seen anything to suggest that he's really coming back, except for one good round with a new driver. We know, just looking at that, the whole new driver narrative. I don't know how many of you guys actually play golf, but for me, whenever I get a new club, I'm kind of jacked up to use it. It's great. Typically have a good round one with my new club. And then slowly but surely, I start to regress and start to have some driving accuracy issues. And then eventually I figure it out again. So you kind of worry about that with him as well. A lot of players are switching to new equipment this week, and it's just kind of how it goes. So I don't know. I'm just worried about Gary Woodland. He's one of those guys where I'm going to be underweight on, where at the start of the week, I was thinking I'd be overweight on him, but it seems like everyone's kind of on him, which, that is something that worries me. This year's been interesting in terms of chalk. There's been a lot of bad chalk. People have been much more of risky players this year. I don't really know what's going on. I don't really get what's elevating these bad plays as chalk plays. It's really like what's going on with the stock market right now. You got some people seeing a number that they don't think is right with the player, and then boom, GameStop just shoots up. You got AMC shooting up. That's what's going on with some of these players where, they somewhat make sense, if everything goes right for them, yeah, it works out. But all in all, there's a reason why they're priced where they are. And you're getting like guys that aren't even checking like a half a box, if you will. So Hutt is too short. That's fine. Hey, that's fine. There's other players in that price point range that are decent as well, so you could go with him. Yeah, so Rahm's equipment worries him. So let me play catch up with the questions here as well. So do you recommend doing 2 separate lineups or just one? I read that as a question of whether or not I'm kind of looking at the weather splits here or course splits here. So I was looking at the PGA Tour weather. That's kind of where I draw the weather predictions for the week. They're pretty accurate with that. I didn't see a specific weather advantage at all. It doesn't seem that the conditions are going to be that bad. It's going to be mixed Thursday, with the conditions actually might be helping the afternoon tee times on Thursday slightly, but overall, just based on what we're seeing for mixed conditions with the wind, that wind that we're getting really doesn't change the overall score too much. So yeah, I just don't see that big of a wind advantage, but I typically like to do one main build and then, make whatever my style of play is or whatever your style of play off of that, make separate builds just based off of that build. So if you're doing like a 20 entry max or something like that, you'd make your one main build, which is based off of a cash build. Your cash build, you're focusing on getting 6 for 6. So more times than not, that's going to be your best build because you're focusing on getting 6 for 6 across the cut line. Obviously, if you're doing that, you're going to have a good week. So you take your main build, and I'm just using a 20 entry max contest as an example. You would literally enter that contest 20 times. And then you would single entry wise, you could edit it one entry at a time, changing the player one entry at a time. So for me, I really like Sanjay M and Hideki Matsuyama. I'm kind of favoring Hideki a little bit more on DraftKings. I'll talk about on FanDuel, but on DraftKings because he's slightly cheaper. So you could just maybe in one lineup you change Hideki out for Sanjay because you're starting to factor in, just variance by doing that. For me, I really like Cameron Smith, Cameron Davis, Brian Palmer. You could flip-flop those in some of your builds. So that's kind of how I like to go about doing it. I would say, 3 entry max, that's pretty solid as well because you can do really 3 lineup approaches. Your favorite build, you could do a studs and duds build, and you kind of just mix and match it. So, got the question about thoughts between Doug Gim and Wyndham Clark. I'll touch on that one real quick here. I'll just pull it up. So Wyndham Clark, who was it? Doug Gim. This is what I like about this tool on 9 to 5 Sports as well. You can really look at it based off of matchups as well. And that's how I'm going to show you guys real quick as well. So for me, Doug Gim is kind of like the lock it in between those 3. It just makes the most sense. We'll go back through. So here we go. Doug Gim there. Obviously he just looks like a quality play. Course history could be, a little bit better, but of the 3, best course history of the 3. So yeah, he's the one that you'd go with for sure. And then just looking at it, I am preferring Kramer Hickok. Call it more of a gut play, but it's close. I prefer Kramer Hickok, a slightly better recent form. They're about the same stat fit. Kramer Hickok has missed his last 2 cuts here, but he had been playing really bad golf in his career, where Wyndham Clark, much more of a GPP play. So yeah, if you guys were going that route for him, GPP lineup, I would probably favor Clark, but if it's a cash build, I wouldn't want to play Kramer Hickok, but I would go Hickok just looking at their recent form. Yeah, 2 top 21 finishes are better for Hickok, and then, it's not like Wyndham Clark played poorly, so I don't mind either of them too much. All right, let's see here. Trying to get caught up still. I think I got him. So rate my lineup. So 1 through 10, Jon Rahm, Holmes, Max Homa, Ryan Palmer, Grillo, and Schauffele. So yeah, for me, that lineup has a lot of risk with it there, Austin. Is that Austin? Sorry. Yeah, it's Austin. So yeah, I don't really love it, to be honest with you. So Max Homa and JB Holmes, I'm not on those guys. Now, I really get the theme that you're going with this in this lineup. You're looking for length. You're looking for those GPP upside plays. So I get it. Like Xander, Holmes, and Max Homa, to me, you're kind of bringing in a lot more risk, if you will, where, Rahm, Palmer, and Grillo, those should be your made cuts. And then Homa, Holmes, and Xander are kind of your question marks. I typically don't like to play more than like two question marks, I guess, if you will, on the lineup. Xander should obviously be able to go off. This is, of course, where he really, statistically speaking, is top notch. It's his home course too, or course he's familiar with. He should be able to go off and dominate. He just hasn't done that yet. So I don't know. I'm just a little bit worried about that lineup. I'd probably give it between a 4 and a 6, probably a 5. Yeah, like Joshua says there. Yeah, I'd probably kind of agree. I like to really look at lineup building process in terms of getting 6 for 6 across the cut line, and I kind of worry about that one. But Max Homa, whenever someone asks me about Max Homa, and it's not that much, he tends to do well. It's a Max Homa anomaly. It's weird. Really, it is. I have a buddy who he plays PGA DFS casually, and he'll literally just pop in randomly and say, Max Homa week, and literally each time it's been like a top 25 finish, and it's insane. Like sometimes he's in bad recent form. That happened last week with, I think, one of you guys on here said it. I think it was Brian. I forget though. Max Homa week. It ended up happening. So maybe it happens again. So Jordan Spieth, I remember this. A lot of people are talking about Jordan Spieth. I'm like, what is going on? No, guys. All right, so I'm going to pull up Jordan Spieth, and I remember Phil Mickelson was a question as well. So let me pull up those two real quick, just based on the data like I have it. So just looking at those two, I'll pull up Phil, and then I'll pull up Jordan here. So we're going to compare the two. So just not that good. Comparing the two individually. So course history wise, if you're looking at that, I get it. And Jordan Spieth's the guy where he has put it together for one event, and he has been able to put it together for course history events is what I'm trying to say here. So in events where he has played out well previously, he's kind of found a way to make the cut. I just don't see it with either of them. Really, none of them have been playing well recently. So I'll just look at Jordan here, and then I'll look at the players around his price point range. All right, so yeah, just looking at the stats for Jordan, nothing's really popping. Nothing's really anything that we can hang our hat on. And then same thing with Phil, where they both have high bogey avoidance. That's kind of your worry with both of them. Yeah, nothing to really hang our hat on. And the thing with Jordan Spieth is that there's a bunch of quality plays right around his price point range. So I'll pull him back up and now compare him to others in his price point range. Because we got Taylor Gooch, Sam Burns, a little bit Corey Connors, Grillo. I can go on. And I'm really pissed that Charlie Hoffman did his whole back injury thing last week with Drew, because he probably would have been a lock if he was at this price point again this week. That just makes me mad. But just looking at, Jordan and Phil, there's much better plays around them, GPP wise, cash wise as well. So yeah, I would tend to stick away from that. I never want to be the one to tell someone not to play someone. So most of the time I'm just saying, make another build and adjust it that way. Because I never want to be the one to say, yeah, don't play that guy, and then he does well. That's just kind of how I like to roll. So Tony Finau, Patrick Reed, Brooks Koepka, or Sungjae Im. For me, I'm going to go Tony Finau. I'm going to go Sungjae Im, and then I would go Reed, and then Brooks. Brooks has really struggled, and I'll pull him up here as well. Brooks is... this is my question to you guys with Brooks Koepka. If he was priced where he should be, if he was priced by, like, let's say, Gary Woodland, Jordan Spieth, what would you guys be doing with him then? Because I don't think I would even be playing him then, which is kind of surprising. But like thinking about it, why would we? Why would we trust it? Not checking any boxes except for like length, strokes gained to green and strokes gained total. That's about it. So I'm kind of curious what you guys would do with Brooks if he was priced that way. Oh yeah, Max Homa Sunday was awful. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know, I'm just curious about Brooks there in general. All right, so I'm trying to get caught up on the questions here to really get caught up, and I apologize for that once again, guys. All right, so we got another rate my lineup. Kind of fun there. I like that. I like that bit. So rate my lineup. Brooks Koepka, Jason Day, Hideki, Spieth, Streelman, Zalatoris. So that's a little bit better for me personally, just because I see Jason Day as more of a shoulder shrug play this week. I know some people on the 9-to-5 Discord chat. What's up? If you guys are 9-to-5 members, make sure to look for that link on the write-up this week. Kind of fun already. It's a good thing already, and I'm enjoying it. We have like, I don't know, 15% of the paid members on there. So once everyone's in there, it's going to be a lot more fun, I think. So I'm excited for that in general. Already got some, good chatter going there, but I guess there's something with Jason Day's equipment. I forget what it was exactly. I think he switched one of them. So I was going to look it up. But so I don't mind him. Shoulder shrug play. Hideki I like. Spieth, I don't want to say I wouldn't play him, but I would make another build off of one of those other guys that are right there. Probably go Grillo or something. Stroman I actually like as a value play. And then Zalatoris. I mean, this is much more of a GPP build. I think that's kind of obvious. So for GPP purposes, I would give it like a 6. I'm a tough grader, as always. I just want you guys to know I'm a tough grader. So I would get that more of like a 6, but I don't mind it. Let's see here. Wish Tiger was in the field, don't we all? Yes, once again, I was not taking a dump. You know, you got to take care of that way before. Let's see here. Who's your fade this week? So I already kind of mentioned it. Gary Woodland is going to be my fade this week. I'll just pull it up here on the slide as well. So what are we hanging our hat on with Gary Woodland? Course history, right? Sure. That could be. And one good round. I struggle with that. I do. But I get it. You know, if he obviously plays at least 70% the way he did last week, if he plays just as good as he did last week or close to it, he's going to be good. So I struggle with him at like how much he's getting talked up. I know Luke List was getting talked up a decent amount, so I do worry about him. And then just kind of looking it over, I am starting to fade Xander. I think I'm going to be underweight on Xander, which I hate doing. I don't like that. I'm fading Brooks already. I'm uncomfortably fading Victor Hovland. I don't feel good about that, but really just to end up in his price point range. Same thing with like Sibu, Bubba, Mark Leishman. You know, these are guys that should make the cut, obviously. I don't think they're as optimal as some of the other players in their price point range. All right, so now I'm caught up. So let's see here. ROM new equipment. Yep. Speaking of ownership, where are we with Taylor Gooch? So Taylor Gooch, honestly, see, this is where I'm talking about where there's been like bad chalk where people are getting really risky with their plays. It's like these GPP-based plays are getting talked up a ton to the point where they're getting really priced up. So recent form-wise, Taylor Gooch has been okay. You know, 21st finish at the American Express, miscut at the RSM Classic. Course history-wise, you know, we do like that course history. 3 straight make cuts and a top 10 finish. Good stat rank as well. I mean, he's a solid play overall. But to me, it seems like much more of a GPP play. I'm actually fine with 10% though. Now looking it over, there's too many good plays right around him is the problem. You got Grillo, you got Burns, you got Connors, you got, I'm not on Charles Howell, but you got him right there. There's just a lot of decent plays around him. That's kind of the problem. But you could make a lineup with like Gooch, Grillo, Burns, or something like that, Connors, and then really pay up as well. So you could go that route. I don't mind that. Luke List is a great play. No. He's another one that was getting talked up. I'm like, this is not like good chalk if it becomes chalk. And I'm not saying he's a bad play, but if he becomes chalk, it's not the best call. I do think he'll make the cut, but I don't know. I just worry about him. So bogey avoidance ranks 161 in that. And then strokes gained tee to green, 40 in that. That's okay. Total driving, not that good. Ball striking could be better. Birdie to bogey ratio, not that good. So what we're hanging our hats on 2 things. Strokes gained tee to green, and that's about it. I get why people are on him, but the fact that he's going to be chalked, that's what makes you worry. 21st finish, and then 2 straight missed cuts. Obviously, this is a course that he's played well at before. I think people are really hanging their hat on that course history. For me, I don't know. I don't get why he's getting talked up and John Ha isn't, to be honest with you guys. It's just weird. Thoughts on Maverick McNeely? I'm not on McNeely. I love his name, but I'm not on him this week. All right. Keep asking questions so I can't get caught up. That's funny. Cash plays this week. So cash plays this week. They're the core plays that I touched on in the previous video. So we kind of already know the core plays, then I'll just do it again. So for me, it's going to be Hideki. That's why I was really liking him. Just looking at him overall, he seems like someone that's going to make the cut. And obviously we know I like made cuts. So Hideki, Ryan Palmer I like, but I also like Cameron Davis, Cameron Smith around him. Grillo I like as well. John Ha I like as well. So that's kind of what I'm looking at for cash. Any love for Francesco Molinari? No, none for me this week. I need to see it again from him. You know, these guys where they haven't played well recently and then just have one good round, I typically like to wait a little bit to see if that was an actual thing or if it was just one good round. I mean, these guys are professional golfers. They're going to have like good rounds here and there. But I'll get into some betting picks here real quick. Now this video is already kind of running a little bit long because I already got caught up on the questions and whatnot. But I'll get into some of the betting picks here. So I'll start off with the top 40 side of it, and then I'll get into kind of who I think will win. So just looking at top 40 based, we know what the goal is with the top 40s. What I'm trying to accomplish is guys that are going to make the cut, and then from there, should be able to get a top 40 here. Harris English, there's always love for Harris English. Top 20 Harris English, you just keep betting that each and every week, and you'd be a profitable guy, especially since when we started saying Harris top 20 English. That was like, what, 6 months ago now? Yeah, he'd be a good play. But yeah, for me, when I'm doing top 40 bets, I want to look at a guy that just has positive numbers. So like Grillo, he'd be a good option for those. Cameron Smith, he'd be a good option. Corey Connors, I like. Taylor Gooch. Let's see here. I think John Ha was there. John Ha's there. You could go lower. So I really do like Justin Suh, guys. USC guy. Great staff fit. Yeah, I like him a decent amount. So, whoops. This is from the previous video. I had all these outrights already loaded here. So I'll get into the outrights here. Let's go. Let me actually zoom this in. All right. So just looking at the kind of outrights, for me, I don't want to start off with the first 5 guys, really. Just they're not at the odds that I typically like to bet at. So that's what I'm worried about there. So John Rahm, yeah, I think he's the class of the field. Rory, those are 2 guys that we expect to be contending for the lead. This is where I actually do like to kind of do outright betting. Where Xander Schauffele is a risky play in PGA DFS. He makes a ton of sense for an outright bet. 12-1, we wish that was a little bit better, especially given his course history. But obviously we know the narrative with him by now. He's from the area and whatnot. He's familiar with this course. He should be a good play at this course. Just hasn't come together for him. He's a great stat fit. So I really don't mind Xander. Should be a better play. But yeah, this is where like betting outright makes a decent amount of sense. You don't have to worry about the cut sweat with him. If he just doesn't play well, he misses the cut, you don't win the bet. It's as simple as that. But he's not going to ruin a lineup for you. He's just going to ruin one bet. And then going from there, like Hideki, I feel really good about 25-1. That's kind of where I'd want to start. But the problem with that is after that, I like Sunday M 35-1. But after that, it's just a ton of alike plays. Okay, like I like Cameron Davis, I like Ryan Palmer, I like Cameron Smith, Corey Connors, but they're all kind of the same. So for me, I was kind of starting to favor more long shot bets. Taylor Gooch, Emiliano Grillo, John Ha, Sam Burns even, Doug Gim I don't mind, and then Justin's once again just 300-1 for a guy who's only played one bad round thus far this season, a top 20 stat fit, one of the better plays in terms of the data. What the data is telling us, one of the better plays. He's played at USC in college. It just seems crazy to me that he's at 30 or 300-1. If it was more like 150, that'd make more sense. So, I mean, he's worth just throwing something small at. Maybe you can cash out early, but even just looking at like his top 10 number, 16-1. So I don't mind it. So got a question about Roy Sabatini. Let me pull that one up. That's interesting to me. been a while since someone's asked me a question about Sabs. See what you're seeing here. Not bad. Can't talk you off of it. It's not bad. I mean, obviously it's not like the optimal approach that you want to go, but it's not bad. I get it. Not bad at all. All right, so I got to wrap up here pretty quickly. So I'll get into some of the FanDuel picks. We kind of already went through lineup construction a decent amount, but I'll get to some FanDuel picks. So the thing that I like about FanDuel is that you typically can make a stars and scrubs lineup work pretty well, pretty easily there. That's one of the great things about it. So I'll show you guys what I'm looking at for FanDuel here real quick. All right, so the thing with FanDuel this week is that Hideki is actually priced more than Sanjay M. So for FanDuel, I'm already starting to favor Sanjay M. What's up, T-Dog? How's it going, man? So yeah, for FanDuel, I'm favoring Sanjay M a little bit more than Hideki, just price point wise. I like Hideki more than Sanjay on DraftKings because Hideki's cheaper. So I like Sanjay a little bit more because it's cheaper on FanDuel. See, but look at this lineup on FanDuel. You got 1, 2. Got really all the top-notch plays, and you're not really stressed about it. And then you can get one of these okay plays here to kind of fill it in with maybe Jason Day. That's kind of the problem with FanDuel is that there's kind of a dead range for me in general with this price point range. Is that I don't really feel good about it in general. So maybe you could go up from Grillo, who we're kind of just on for a made cut. You could maybe go up from him to, I guess, a better made cut with like Cameron Davis or, Cameron Smith. You could go that route. That's kind of the problem, I guess, in that range. But you could go up from Palmer to, let's see here, English. And then let's see here, Grillo, because that price point there still. And then you still are, pretty solid. Taylor Gooch, there you go. So, these are some easier builds on FanDuel. And that's kind of the problem with FanDuel is that it's just typically a little bit easier in general. You can typically fit in one more quality play than you could on DraftKings. So that's kind of just how it goes. I want to know who my wife likes this week. She likes me this week, dude. What do you mean? It's me every week. I can't hit the links, but maybe I go hit the slopes, hit some, do some skiing. I don't know. I'll have to ask her. I'll give her a choice between 10 players and she'll say Harris English because that's the one I've just randomly told her about. I'm like, hey, my guy's doing well. Harris English, he's doing well. And she's heard that for about the past year now. So it'll probably be him because she's familiar with that name. Or I could throw in Ricky. Is Ricky in the field? Holy crap. He should be, right? Gosh, I panicked there for a second. I'm like, it's the Farmers Insurance Open. He has to be in it. And then I was just like, man, once again, why do they choose this venue for their sponsored guy? What is going on there? He sucks at this course. This is not a good course for him. They should do a shorter course for him. I don't know. It's just kind of crazy to me. A hot take. Nice. I like it. But yeah, I kind of just been looking at lineup construction here. I kind of did end up on the lower high tiers. So right around the 9K price point range with 2 of those guys. And then 1 or 2 in the mid tier and then 2 in the low tier. And to me, I kind of consider that a fair and balanced approach because you're really not stressing it too much. Now, for the most part, just building a lineup in the 8K range is a fair and balanced approach. But earlier on in the season where there are still some good quality values out there that we're seeing this week, I've kind of been more fair and balanced. But overall, in general, it's been kind of easy to do a stars and scrubs approach. The value plays at 9 to 5 have been hitting, and my best lineups really for the past 2 months have been stars and scrubs lineups. And we know that's not going to last forever. We just kind of got to enjoy it while it's there. I bring the humor to the chat. Brian, I appreciate that, man. See, we need more of that. I want to, we got the dump talk going earlier and whatnot. We got the rate my lineups, the chat was going today. I like that. But yeah, that's kind of it. So final thoughts here. Why does it say American Express? Let's just get that out of there. There we go. So final thoughts here. Just I want to talk about the Discord chat real quick. It's already been popping on the 9 to 5 Sports page. If you guys are a member on 9 to 5 Sports, there is a link to that in the main write-up. Already has some good conversations going, and we only have like 15% of the members on Discord chat right now. So definitely make sure to click over. We got some news based on going on, like equipment with Jason Day. We already touched on that kind of with John Rahm as well. So we're breaking news in there. So I feel good about that. Oh, hey, what's up? So thoughts on Bubba? I'm fine with Bubba. Kind of a shoulder shrug play. There's like a viral clip going on with him on like TikTok or Instagram or something like that, where he was in like a putt competition with his kids and he like cheats. He goes off course like we've all always done, but then he misses like a gimme putt. So maybe we should be worried about his putting. I'm just kidding, but I'm fine with Bubba as a play. Shoulder shrug play. I think there's better plays around his price point range, but it's a play where I don't want to talk you off of him. We know he has the length. Can I do a showdown? Maybe, possibly. You know, I think it would be good content. I kind of do want to. I think it would be good content. The problem with it, honestly, is that YouTube has their algorithm, and like the reason why I haven't been able to do like NBA videos is because then it ruins the videos for PGA, in all honesty, where it like starts to tell the algorithm that I'm doing like that content. So I don't know. It's all a numbers thing. So yes, I want to do that, and eventually I probably will. I think I will. We'll see. I don't want to guarantee anything though, but I have thought about that. I probably will start doing at least like a weekend showdown slate or something like that, recapping the previous 2 rounds and then getting into a showdown view. So hopefully, but that's kind of all I have for you guys for this one. I'm sorry about the delay, the 30-minute delay. I appreciate you guys all sticking on. Had a good chat. Hope this is something that we can continue to do. Have a good chat together. It'll be fun. I'm going to start going live at 4 p.m. Central weekly now as well. I like that time. So that's all I have for you guys this week.